Aretha Franklin. It would be derelict indeed for me to stand before you today on the heels of her death and pretend as though her passing did not take place this week. So I've chosen to offer to you my own tribute to Aretha today, because I am convinced that there are some lessons to be learned by reflecting and looking upon her life. The Aretha we know is the full-length mink coat-wearing Aretha. Aretha that saturates a stage and dominates a crowd with her presence. The Aretha we know is the songstress who is as masterful in multiple genres, including pop, R&B, soul, opera, and certainly gospel. Now, look at this thinning gray head. You understand that I'm of the era of Chain of Fools. You send me. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. And the national anthem of the feminist movement, Natural Woman. I've been in touch with our media ministry, and several of those songs I was tempted to play today, but I was afraid I couldn't get your mind back in church. If I played Dr. Feelgood or what? Hello, somebody. Who's zooming who? And you know, I mean, it might be a little challenging to get you back in church. But I want to remind you that her 1970 album entitled Amazing Grace is still one of the best-selling gospel albums of all time. Featured on vinyl in that recording was a particular song that is moving, passionate, and invites us to remember how God will take care of us. So, beloved, give me 2 minutes of your time and attention, and let's listen for about 90 seconds, 2 minutes if you have it, to a little Aretha today as she sings, "Oh Mary, don't you weep. Oh Mary, don't you mourn."
Listen, baby. Tell your sister don't moan. Pharaoh's army. All of them men got drowned in the sea one day. Yes, they did. Mary, don't weep. Tell Martha not to moan. Don't moan. Don't moan. Yeah, if I could.
Aretha Franklin was not the most famous member of her family. She was born to a Baptist preacher by the name of Clarence Vaughan Franklin, who began his preaching career in Shelby, Mississippi. Was invited to take a pulpit in Memphis, Tennessee. Left in 1942. Moved later to Buffalo, New York, the Friendship Baptist Church of Buffalo, New York. 1960, he was invited to vacate that pulpit and assume the pastorate of the New Bethel Baptist Church of Detroit, Michigan in 1960. It is there, along with Shelby, Mississippi and Memphis, Tennessee, that C.L. Franklin's name became synonymous with the black preaching style that we call hooping. Can I talk in here? When you hear us do that, it is our best effort to sound like C.L. Franklin. He was the master of that genre and that technique. It was in 1942 that C.L. Franklin welcomed into the world his oldest daughter, Aretha. At a time when Germany, Italy, and Japan pitched their forces against China, Great Britain, France, Russia, and the United States, the height of what history calls World War II, Aretha came into the world. From almost the beginning, she was a musical prodigy. At the age of 7, she taught herself how to play the piano. And by age 10, she was as accomplished a musician as any musician in her daddy's church. Woo. At 14, she recorded her first album on a national label. We herald, remember, and celebrate Aretha for her fame and even her fortune. But when you look closely at her life, you see that God had his hand on her. Not only during the good times, but even in the midst of her darkest moments. We don't talk about it a whole lot. But Aretha's life was not a bed of roses. She taught herself to play at age 7. She was traveling with her famous father around the country doing revivals at age 10. Being on the road, and let me just say this, and being a preacher's kid. Let me give you a little secret. PKs, we are not in between. We either all the way in the church or we're all the way out of the church. You don't find PKs straddling the fence. And being on the road with her father and around the likes of a Clara Ward and a Mahalia Jackson, life can get a little rough. So rough until one of the footnotes of Aretha's life is that she gave birth to her first child at the age of 12 years old. She wasn't a teenage mother. She was a preteen mother. By 15, she had 2 children. By 18, she had 4. Now, beloved, that would have been enough to wipe out 99% of other aspiring singers. Come on, think about it. Mother at 12, multiple children by 14, 4 by 18. That would have been enough to destroy the musical career of most folk. But God's hand was on Aretha. And by 21, she was signed to the national label of Columbia Records. Can I talk up in here? And it was, and the point that I'm trying to make is that Aretha was resilient. She bounced back from that adversity, that scandal, that shame, and became the Queen of Soul. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, the Lord will do it. He will do it. And so the first lesson that we learn from Aretha is that even though the devil may knock you down, if he don't knock you out, you can still get up and give glory unto God. Aretha did not allow preteen mistakes to ruin the rest of her life. And then, beloved, the other thing is when God has a mission for you, I don't care how many distractions and impediments and roadblocks that the devil tries to put in your way. God has a way of navigating you around those impediments so that his glory might still be fulfilled. Secondly, Aretha reminds us that we are somebody. She was a stalwart supporter of the modern civil rights movement. It was her singing in Detroit's Cobo Hall that inspired Martin Luther King to spontaneously add to his speech in Detroit a narrative that today we call I Have a Dream. Come on here, somebody. I'm trying to get you to see and understand that Aretha represents our contribution, our input into this society that we call America today. Hello, somebody. A year ago, there were skinheads and neo-Nazis who were trying to tell us that we were second-class citizens, that we were irrelevant, and that we don't mean that much. But all you have to do is look at the 112 recordings that appeared on the charts of Billboard from 1946 to 2018 to see that America could not even be spelled with an uppercase A if it hadn't been for folk like Aretha Franklin. And then, you know, Aretha's ability to musically interpret a song was beyond compare. Sam Cooke said, I thought I was doing something when I recorded, darling, you send me. You send me. Wait, but Sam Cooke said, he said, I thought I was doing something. But when I heard Aretha, I said, I've lost that song forever. Because her ability to musically, she had a way of inserting herself into a song and giving it a profile that was memorable and impossible to forget. And whether it was pop or soul or R&B or even opera, she dominated that particular genre. Let us not forget that Aretha Franklin was the first woman to be inducted into the Rock and Roll. Here's what I want to close with. I'm dashing out the door, but here's what I want to close with. I want to close with saying thank you, Aretha. While we are enmeshed in stories of presidential tweets that call black women dogs, you reminded us that black women are queens. While we're wrestling with secret tapes and security briefings, for at least one day this week, we got a vacation from the madness. Because all of America had to pause. Even DT 45 had to take a time out and go to the corner when Aretha closed her eyes. She represents the end of a season. And yet, she reminded us that despite how much you enjoy the season, seasons change. She's pointed out to each and every one of us to enjoy our season, because seasons are not permanent. Seasons change. I'm not just saying that to say that. I'm saying that because as a prince in the Lord's church and as a founding member of the Full Gospel Baptist Church Fellowship, I am delighted and will forever be proud that the last song, original composition that Aretha recorded was on the Tehillah label. And the Tehillah label is the recording label that's owned by the Full Gospel Baptist Church Fellowship. She lent her celebrity status to our Reformation. The last song she recorded was this powerful duet with our Bishop Paul Morton. And the song was called Seasons Change. I was saying, Brother Moses, to somebody just the other day, that heaven needed a new lead singer. And Gabriel, who replaced Lucifer as the choir director, selected Aretha to sing the new lead. So she vacated her spot here on earth so she could assume the role of lead singer in heaven's choir. But since she's gone, she left that space for Sister Evie Moses. And so, beloved, I bid you good afternoon. I thank you for your time and attention. I repeat again that my joy and my delight is that Aretha's last recording success was done for us, the Full Gospel Baptist Church Fellowship. Now, the song didn't get the attention and the popularity as some of her other tunes. But the fact remains that the last time she put her voice on wax, so to speak, it was with the Full Gospel Baptist Church Fellowship. And so I close with Aretha Franklin and Paul Morton singing Seasons Change.
In the snowy cold of winter, underneath the cloudy sky, in the middle of December, you share the thinking why do the leaves fall? Why does the sky fill up with gray? Where do the birds go? Think about it. Seasons change. It's gonna change. They always change.
Sometimes life is gray like winter, and the tears fall from your eyes. Your heart is cold like December, and you start to wonder why. Where did my faith go? Why don't things ever go my way? Why don't my friends call?
Get encouraged.
'Cause seasons change.
Just like the bell has got to ring, just like the bird has got to sing, just like the sun has got to shine, just like a poem has got to rhyme, just like a river has to flow, just like the wind has got to blow. After the rain, after your pain, you won't be the same. 'Cause seasons change. Oh, becomes the fragrance. Thank you for setting the captive free. Lord, oh, you turn water into wine. Grip of sin.
Oh, yes.
And he rose again.
Like his
To Just to know that you're with me through the good times, through the bad times, through my ups and through the downs, through my good days and my bad days.
Hallelujah. We want to acknowledge that seasons change, beloved. But you need not fear nor fret the change of the season if your hand is in the hand of the Lord. Whether it is spring, summer, fall, or winter, let the seasons change. But God is standing by. So we invite you to come. If you're here today and you know that there are some changing seasons in your life, give me your hand, but give God your heart. Are you in the house today? Are you in the house today? Bless you, bless you, bless you. Look at God up in here today. I'm standing right here. Bless you, sir. Bless you, sir. Bless you, man. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Come on, church. Somebody ought to be happy. Listen, we ain't seen this in several Sundays. Come on, is there another? Come on. Are your seasons changing? Look at God in this house today. Look at God in this house today. Yes, you are. Bless you today. Bless you today. Hallelujah.